Brown with Cajun Cardboard coming at you from the great state of Louisiana, and it's been forever since I've done a LeBron James video, so I figured it was time for some of you LeBron collectors out there. I know I'm a huge Jordan guy. I'm a Jordan over everything guy, right? All paths in the hobby lead to Jordan for me personally, but I know that a lot of you guys that watch are huge LeBron James collectors. I have a nice little LeBron James collection as well, and so I thought today would be a good video to look at LeBron James' best and worst performing rookie cards over the last year, just out of curiosity, because he's been completely out of sight, out of mind. I mean, we're worried about the Beal trade. We're worried about Victor Wembanyama. We're always talking about Jordan stuff. We're looking at Kobe. LeBron James cards have been absolutely punished in the past year, 2 years, something like that. So I thought it was a good time to check in because you know how it goes in the hobby. When things drop so far, there becomes a really good price point to buy those cards. So I am in Card Ladder. I am going to screen share and just kind of show you, again, not a lot of research. I haven't even looked at the cards yet. I just wanted to do the search, and then we're going to talk about it organically together. Here's my filters. Basketball cards only, not that he played any other sports. $100 minimum value, because I don't care if a card goes from $40 to $60. It's up, 50%. Doesn't matter to me. It's got to be to the year 2003, which you can see on your screen, and it's got to be a PSA 10. And it's just one of those things where you got to kind of pick, right? And so I picked PSA 10. I've got it sorted in the worst percentage return over the last 1 year. And let's just get cranking. We'll talk about 5 bad, and then we're going to finish on the positives, right? You know my channel is all about positivity, right? Keeping everything positive. Keep collecting, stay positive in the hobby and peace. And so that's how I end every video. So we'll start with the negative and we'll finish with the positive. The first card that's down the most, believe it or not, is a pretty badass card. It's this 2003 SP. And again, these are only the cards that are in the Card Ladder database. Let me be very clear on that. It's not going to include any rookies that aren't included in the Card Ladder database. So there are 67 such PSA 10 cards, and in those 67 sorted worst performing over the last year, this is card number 1, and it's a big one. It's a really nice big card. It's the 2003 SP Signature Edition LeBron James PSA 10. The card last sold for $10,890 about 2 months ago exactly. It's a Pop 72 card. If we got this chart over here showing you the last year, the cards dropped from $27,600 in September of 2022, which is really only about, it's exactly 9 months ago, to $10,890. So massive drop right there. That's a $16,000 real value change. Card number 2, worst performing, is sort of a commodity card, I guess it's safe to say, or a flagship rookie card. It's probably not as like flagship as the Topps Chrome, but Bowman Rookies and Stars Chrome is pretty close to Topps Chrome as far as, quantity. Well, maybe not as close to quantity, but similar type of card, right? Chromium type product. The PSA 10 is only a Pop 567. Here's what this card's done. And again, remember, these percentages now are going to be basically looking at a beginning data point and an ending data point. So it's quite possible if I went from 12 months or 1 year on this graph to 13 months, maybe the sale was down here around 2,500. I don't know that. Well, we can find out right here, right? And so, that you can always scale out, right? This card has sold for as much as $8,500 in the last 2 years, but we're looking at the last year. The card's down almost 60%, down about $2,300, and part of that came right here. The card was at $2,600 right here. It's dropped all the way down to $1,600, so down $1,000 just over the last few sales. Let's see if we go to 3 months. Maybe it's 6 months where that happened. Yeah, it's kind of weird, right? The last 5 sales of this card are $2,600, $2,500, $2,200, $2,061, and then all the way down to $1,663. So maybe there was just a bad sale. You can always click in there and view all the sales. I just don't want to lose my spot on this index and the way it's sorted, so I'm not going to click out. But that's the card we're talking about right there. So doozy card number 2. Number 3 is the 2003 First edition PSA 10. I own this card in this exact grade, and I bought mine for $10,000. I remember buying this card for $10,000 and thinking, this is a good buy. This is going to be a great buy. Well, guess what? It's not been great for me, right? But that's okay because Cajun Eternity, baby. I'm holding this card in my handy-dandy PWCC vault up in Oregon for Cajun Eternity. If we look at the last 6 months. What were we looking at the last year? Sorry, over the last year, it's down 54.9%. As you can see, I'm probably one of these dorks that bought it right at 10,000 bucks. Well, here we are a year later. The card's selling for 4,600, less than half. It's only a pop 121. This is a much more scarce edition in comparison to the 2003 regular tops. This is the first edition right here with the white suit LeBron holding up the jersey. And it's, of course, on the PSA slabs. It's always going to have that first edition right there, and that's the way that you can tell. But that card's the third worst performing over the last 1 year. Next is a card that I'm not familiar with at all. I think I've seen one of these, maybe not in a PSA 10, but I've seen one of these in a PWCC Weekly Auction recap that I've done. This is his 2003 Upper Deck Black Diamond, a little bit off the radar, not quite the Bowman Chrome, not quite the 2003 Tops, not the Tops Pristine, not the finest. This is the 2003 Upper Deck Black Diamond. This is the bronze parallel, which is serial numbered to only 100. That makes this PSA 10 a pop 15. This card is down from 7,500 almost exactly 11 months ago to 3,600. So you're looking at a card that's been cut, literally cut in half. If we look at the last 2 years, it gets worse, right? It's 3 consecutive downward sales for that card right there, and that's the card we're talking about. Any serial numbered LeBron card, especially a card serial numbered to 100, it's pretty cool in my book. That's a card I'd probably hang on to. The next one's a monster too, and the last bad one we'll look at, because I'm tired of talking about the negative. We're going to switch over and talk about some good stuff. The 2003 SP Authentic LeBron Limited. This one's only serial number 250, right? It's the SP Limited parallel. The card sold for, holy crap, sorry, that's 2 years. Well, let's look at 1 year. Here we go. The card last sold for 104,000, but if we look here exactly 1 year ago, that's my oldest son's birthday, June 25th. The card sold for 216,000. So that is a $111,600 loss in almost exactly 1 calendar year. That is a massive loss, right? From June 25th to July 5th of this year. That's about a 6-month change. I wonder what the card would go for today. Card Ladder seems to think it would continue to go down. The Card Ladder value on this is 64,000. So it sold for 216, sold for 104 about 6 months ago, and now Card Ladder's thinking maybe it's worth about 64. That is a bummer for anybody that owns that card, and that is a one hellacious badass card right there, I must say myself. As a LeBron collector, I'm not ashamed to admit it. I am a LeBron collector, but I do believe Jordan is the GOAT, and I think those two things are perfectly reconcilable. All right, let's get off the bad. Let's talk about the good, and let's finish the video the right way. I'm not going to make this a long video. It's I got to get to lunch with some buddies of mine. It's actually 2 card friends of mine here in Baton Rouge. There's not many of them, but I'm going to lunch with them today, talk some cards. The best performing, let's start with the 5th best. It's the Topps Chrome base. So we saw the Signature Edition, which is a much lower pop, going down. Why in the hell is the 2003 Topps base going up? That doesn't make any sense to me. But here it is. Here's the chart, and you can look at it yourself. The card sells a bazillion times. Over the last year, the card sold 283 times. This is the card. Looks just like the first edition, but it's not. Doesn't have the little stamp. This is the true flagship paper rookie card for LeBron. The cards over the last year up 4.76%. When other LeBron cards, we just saw them, they're down 65, 80, 65, 60, 58, 55%. Talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars in losses. If you were into this Topps PSA 10, your cards are actually up. Although the graph is a little misleading and confusing, it seems like there's a lot of sales. Let's look at the last 3 months. It's probably easy. 3 months, up 13%. Over the last 1 month, even, completely flat even. The cards dipped as low as 1,400. Most recently, it sold as high as 2,200. I don't get it. I don't see how a card that is this has this large of a population can vary that much. And I realize not all PSA 10s are the same, and so you could have a really off-center 10, or you could just have a banging perfect looking 10 as well. And so I know that those exist. But even in that case, for a card which is this populated, I wouldn't think it would cause a, $700, $600, $700, $800 swing, just that much centering. I mean, the centering can't be that bad on a PSA 10, right? It's got to at least look like kind of like a 9. The next best performing, fourth, I should say, best performing LeBron James PSA 10 rookie card in the Card Ladder database is this 2003 Upper Deck LeBron rookie exclusives. Again, another high pop card. Here we are talking about another high pop card. Over the last 1 year, this card is actually up 5.71%, so it's weathered the storm. Over the last 3 months, it's up 10%, so almost an exact similar trend to the 2003 tops we just saw. Here's a card I've never seen in my life. What a picture, though, right? It's a Sports Illustrated for kids, PSA 10. How do they give PSA 10s on perforated cards? Can I do a video on that, or can someone out there educate me, please? This is preposterous. It's clearly from the corner, right? Because we see two perfectly straight edges and one great corner here, and then you can see the left and the bottom are perforated. Of course, there's LeBron dunking on some white kids in the band from, some private high school up in, Ohio. LeBron was like 7 years old in this picture, playing for St. Vincent St. Mary. But I remember watching those games on ESPN, and I was like, this kid is exceptional. I was worried that he would never learn to shoot a basketball, and the funny thing is, he learned to shoot a basketball and became a pretty average to above average three-point shooter. Go look at the percentages. He wasn't terrible. And now he's gone back to forgetting how to shoot a basketball, and he is an awful three-point shooter. I don't know how, well, I do know how. His mechanics are absolutely atrocious. I don't know how the greatest player on earth could let his mechanics deteriorate as much as he has these past 2 years, to the point where he's shooting the ball and releasing it from the wrong side of his head with improper rotation, with improper guide hand, with improper technique on his shooting hand, with his feet too close together, with his shoulders facing the side of the gym wall, facing the team's bench while he releases the ball at a goal that's about 90 degrees to the right of where his shoulders are facing. That's how your shot deteriorates, right? I guess he's got a lot going on, and he's great at other things. So, and I'm just some dude screaming at the screen, begging for a few bucks, making some YouTube content. So I guess I don't have much room to talk. But this is his card over the last year. This is the Sports Illustrated for Kids, PSA 10. It's only a pop 170. So now we're back to a relatively low pop card by most people's standards. Up 11% over the last year, with one exceptional sale here of 1,616, which I would throw out personally. But the card most recently sold for $850. Cool card right there. I don't own it. Number 2 best performing card is one of my favorite products. I remember ripping this product. This was right after it came out. I think maybe Topps Pristine was like, don't quote me on this, but going back to when I was actually collecting at the time, before I took my second decade off from the hobby, I think there's a 2001, 2002, 2003 Pristine. I think that's it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that's correct because I was ripping this stuff out. This is what was called the Uncommon, if I'm not mistaken. 2003 Topps Pristine Uncommon. It's not a refractor, but it is serial number to 999. They did have a refractor version, but this is just the base number to 999. And a PSA 10, it's only a pop 67. I loved this Pristine product. It was the first product that I remember opening where there was actually an encased refractor in the box itself. So you had packs of cards and then you had an encased refractor in the box. And I remember we were Yao Ming chasing. I guess he was 2002. Does that sound right? I remember Yao Ming chasing it. And then, of course, we busted the hell out of 2003 Topps Pristine, searching for LeBrons and Melos and Wades and Bosches and Kirk Heinrichs. Just kidding on the Heinrichs. But that's what the card looks like. It's serial number to 999. Over the last year, this card has only sold 4 times, but it's up 14%. So not much of a trend line there. Over the last 2 years, it's terrible news, right? It's like a tale of two stories here. When you add another year on there, you can see somebody's taking it in the teeth, or right in the nuggets, as I like to say. Down 13.27, down 48% over the last 2 years. So again, these things can be deceiving. Maybe the reason it's doing so well is it did so bad months 13 to 24 when you're going back, that it's kind of recovering from that, and it's actually doing pretty well now. So the tale of two graphs, right? Be careful looking at graphs. It's fun to talk about, but you gotta be careful. I own multiple copies of this card. I thought this card was underpriced. I bought a bunch of it. It's got a lenticular surface. It's called LeBron James Upper Deck. This is the redemption special, sort of an insert rookie card, is what I would call it. The lenticular design is awesome. It's that vinyl Sports Flicks, hot numbers type surface to it, the jambalaya type surface, I think. Really cool card. I can't speak highly enough about this card. It's up 42%. And again, not a low pop card. 2,127 of this card. Let's go into it now. 2,127, about half of the ones that are graded, a little bit less than half, 44.11% grade PSA 10. It's a very sturdy card. It's built like a tank. The lenticular surface is very difficult to damage, so your surface is always going to be good. Your edges are going to be spectacular because it's a real thick cardstock, which also promotes good corners. And so it comes down to centering, and you're talking about a borderless card. And so that's why it probably grades so damn well. Look at BGS, it grades 65%. If you combine BGS and PSA, you're talking about a card that's 333 gem copies out there, but that's what the card looks like. Let's pull it up on the big graph so we can see it, because this is drastically outperforming any other cards over the last year. And again, careful here because it's got a very low starting point. If we go back to 2 years, I'm going to guess it's very red. This is just my guess, okay? I haven't looked at this yet. Down 50%. The tale of two graphs, right? Please be careful. Don't be a graph monkey, right? Don't be a slave to the graph. Don't be so addicted to the percentages that you lose sight of, don't lose sight of the forest for the trees, I think is what they say down here in Louisiana and probably everywhere else. Two different graphs here over the last 2 years. If we look at all time, it's going to look like an FU. There you go. There's the big middle finger. The card once sold for as high as $1,080. The card now sells for $188. There's a lot of them out there, but if you're looking for an affordable LeBron James rookie card, I really highly recommend this card. And I'm not, pumping and dumping. I'm definitely not, I'm going to get my ass handed to me because I bought all mine for much, much more than $188. That just seems really low. Like, I'd rather have this card, be honest with you, I'd rather have this card than his 2003 Topps Paper PSA 10, which is a much more valuable card. That's just me. That's just my opinion, So anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. As always, keep collecting. Stay positive in the hobby. Check out one of these other two videos on this end screen, one of these thumbnails. Just click on it and go watch something else. Thank you guys for watching. Keep collecting. Stay positive in the hobby. And peace.